How's it going, Dragons? This is the legendary Dragon Duelist JP, and today I will be showing you guys a Thunder Dragon deck profile. I asked you guys what deck you wanted me to make, and I gave you two options. There's Paleo Frog or Thunder Dragons, and you guys barely picked Thunder Dragons, just a little bit more. It was a 4-3 vote. And also, if you guys didn't know, I am in a D&D session called The Unfit Crew over on Team NDL's channel, so check that out if you haven't already. And in there, I am actually a Thunder Dragon, so this just works perfectly for everything. If you wanted frogs, that doesn't mean I'm not going to do a frog deck profile. It might not be an in real life deck profile like this one is with Thunder Dragons. Either way, if you guys really want it, I could do the frog deck profile online or something. So anyways, let's start off with this Thunder Dragon deck. First, I'm going to start it off with 3 Thunder Dragons, of course. This is mainly the card that gives you a whole bunch of advantage. There's 2 main ways you use this card. When you discard it, you add either 2 Thunder Dragons to your hand if you want to have more card advantage. But if you want more Thunder Dragons in your graveyard or to use its effect more, you only search 1 off of its effect. And it's not once per turn, so that means you could just keep on using this effect as many times as you can. This may sound weird, but there's also sometimes where I tribute summon a monster to summon this, and that's either to get that monster in the graveyard or this monster out on the field, or maybe Thunder Dragon Fusion or something. Most of the time when I do that, it's to get Collapse Serpent or Wyvern Burster in the graveyard, so that way their effects trigger. And also most of the time, this is what we're using to pretty much wipe our opponent's board with Thunder Dragon Titan, because you just keep on activating this and then you keep on saying chain. Next up, we have 3 Thunder Dragon Roar. This one is great. It special summons a Thunder Dragon monster from the deck. Most of the time you're summoning Thunder Dragon Dark from the deck and then using it in your combo to get Titan. Also, sometimes this does come up where you discard it to add a Thunder Dragon monster from your graveyard to your hand. Next, I have the 3 Thunder Dragon Darks. This one is mainly to search your Thunder Dragon Fusion or any other Thunder Dragon card from your deck. Of course, this can come up also where if it's still in your hand and you have Thunder Dragon Titan on your field, it could also be another quick effect pop. Next up, I'm playing 2 Thunder Dragon Hawk. A lot of people are playing this at 1, but I'm playing this at 2 because it's just another free extender in the hand. And also, for every Thunder Dragon monster, I'm going to say this again, it triggers the effect of Titan. It also sometimes, spoiler warning, I'm going to say this now, we're playing Dragoon. So if you draw your Dragoon bricks, it's not even the end of the world because you could banish this card and shuffle those bricks back into your deck. It's like a magical mallet that's searchable. Most of the time you are going to be using its discard effect to special summon a Thunder Dragon, but there are times where its magical mallet effect can come up. Next I have the 3 Thunder Dragon Matrix. This one is here, of course, because it's disruption that you get with Thunder Dragon Titan on your opponent's turn. Also adds itself from the deck to the hand when it's sent to the graveyard from the field or banished. It's pretty good at keeping itself in the hand all the time. Also, it's a level 1 monster, so you could make Link Karibo or Anima with it. And you just want to see this card, so that way you could have disruption with Thunder Dragon Titan on your first turn. And that's why we play 3. And so that's it for the Thunder Dragons. Next, let's get to our normal summons. There's only 3 normal summons, while you can normal summon your hand traps or some of your Thunder Dragons. The main one is going to be Aloof Lupine. This one is very good because it banishes for cost. So you normal summon it and then straight away it banishes for cost, so you could still get the effect of that. So if your opponent imperms it or veilers it or something like that, you still get the effect of your banished monster. It's not susceptible to Ash Blossom or some other hand traps, and to just get 2 banishes off of 1 card in Thunder Dragons, that's pretty good. Now, as soon as you saw this, I'm going to take it away immediately. I'm going to show you some of the Chaos cards. I'll start with the 2 big ones, which is Levianeer and the Chaos Creator. I'll talk about Levianeer first. So, of course, a lot of these cards in this deck is going to be there because it's an extender. It's searchable with Chaos Space. Sometimes if you already have the Wyvern Burster or Collapse Serpent in your hand, and Chaos Space also, and then you search one of these cards. With the Levianeer, you could get 3 pretty good effects. If you need another extender, you could banish 3 light monsters, and that'll monster reborn something. Sometimes if your opponent gets rid of your Dragoon, on your follow-up turn you could use that effect and bring back your Dragoon. And also it has a hand ripping effect, and come on, who doesn't like hand ripping? And then if you're going second, there's the top 2 effect, if you banish both light and dark. I only play one of this, and this also applies to the Chaos Creator. I only play one of each because they could be kind of bricky in the hand if you draw too many of them. Now the Chaos Creator, this one, you need to banish a light and a dark to special summon it. And immediately it's just 2 bodies on the field. It's really good at extending. And of course, just like Levianeer, it's searchable with Chaos Space. These 2 are also pretty big monsters. This one's a Gaia, this one's a Blue Eyes White Dragon. So when you're going second and need to OTK, they could be good for that. Next we have Collapse Serpent and Wyvern Burster. Of course, these are just 2 free extenders. Mainly you're using Chaos Space to search them. And what I love so much about Chaos Space and these cards is that it pretty much always ensures you have a card in your hand to discard with Dragoon. Now Thunder Dragons are pretty good at having multiple cards in their hand by the end of the turn. Sometimes I'll go through full combo and still have 4 cards in my hand. And also I am playing 1 rank 4 Exceeds monster, and if you get a ton of extenders, this could be good for that. For the final Chaos monsters, I just have 2 Chaos Valkyrie, because sometimes when you have a Chaos Space, but you already have the Wyvern Burster, it's a light, and you can only discard a dark. Then this is here to search and be another extender. Of course, level 4 monster, light, extender, searchable with Chaos Space. That's what a lot of these Chaos cards are. The second effect that it has is more useful on your follow-up turn. Okay, that's it for the Chaos cards. Next I'm going to have triple DD Crow to start off with our hand traps. I say this is a pretty good hand trap in this format, as there's a lot of graveyard reliant stuff currently. Like with Eldritch, you could banish some of their trap cards or the Eldritch itself. A pretty cool ruling actually, when your opponent uses a Drytron and they tribute a Ben 10, tributing a Ben 10 is 4 cost, so the Ben 10 is sent there, and you could chain DD Crow to banish it, and the Ben 10 won't activate because it wasn't in its trigger location. Also Virtual World, they like to banish some cards. You could banish their trap card from the graveyard to avoid them from getting their calamities as easy. They use some cards that revive monsters from the graveyard. You could DD Crow those also. Also Dogmatica Invoked. DD Crow the Alistair on activation of Invocation, and then their Invocation just sucks. So overall DD Crow is just a good hand trap. Also it's a dark monster that you could banish with the lore if you need to. Next up we have triple Effect Veiler. Now, hold on. Effect Veiler isn't that good right now. So why am I playing it? Okay, so I feel like there are still situations where Effect Veiler could be good. Also, it's mainly because it's a light monster and we can normal summon it. A lot of the time, sometimes I'll even just normal summon this card and it's just a free extender and a light monster in the graveyard to banish. If you have Skullmeister, that is also another good option to add in here. I don't have Skullmeister currently, but the only problem that I would have with it is that it's not a level 1 monster. And this may sound silly, but you could actually normal summon Effect Veiler and break boards. So that is it for the hand traps. There's only 2 hand traps because it's not a very combo reliant format currently. Next we're getting into Dark Magician and Red Ice Black Dragon. Now these 2 cards, they're really good. They have really high attack points. Of course Yugi used this monster and Joey used this one, so because they used it automatically makes those cards good. And just like honestly, a lot of the times I'll just set up a board and then I'll just tribute summon both of them to summon Dark Magicians. Like, what are they gonna do about it? It's a 2,500 beat stick that they can't get over. Obviously I'm kidding, it's for Dragoon. Yeah, it's just they're just bricks in the deck. I was completely joking there. So if you draw any of these 3 cards, you can shuffle it back into your deck with the card Thunder Dragon Hawk by banishing it. And if you can't use Hawk and you still draw Red Ice Fusion, just send Thunder Dragon Fusion with Anaconda instead. Alright, now we're getting into the spells. Here I have 2 Thunder Dragon Fusion. I don't feel like you need 3. 3 could probably start getting a little bit too bricky and too much. There hasn't really been a situation where I'm like, wow, I really need a third Thunder Dragon fusion to win. Of course, you're searching this with your Thunder Dragon Dark, or you're sending it with Anaconda. And spoiler warning, another reason not to play 3 is because of instant fusion, which is practically a third one without being a third one, meaning you could summon 2 of your Titans in one turn if you draw it. This is also just a rota for Thunder Dragons on your next turn. So let's say you didn't resolve Thunder Dragon, let's say you didn't get Thunder Dragon on your going first plays, banish this card from your graveyard, search Thunder Dragon. Then you trigger the effect of Thunder Dragon, shout Chain, search 1 Thunder Dragon, trigger that effect of Thunder Dragon, shout Chain again, and then just keep popping your opponent's board. Next up is the triple Chaos Space. This card is amazing. Every time I see this card, I just get happy. 2 free and easy extenders plus a draw, which could be another extender. Most of the time with this, we are searching Collapse Serpent or Wyvern Burster. Those are probably the best ones. But you could also search some of the other ones, depending on the situation. Next, I have 2 Allure of Darkness, aka Thunder Dragon Allure, because it's just a Thunder Dragon card. Now, it's a Pot of Greed plus a Banish, which is insane in Thunder Dragons because you're getting a draw 2 and also you're banishing a card, which you want to do anyways. So if it's so good, why am I running 2? Okay, so the reason why I'm only running 2 is because sometimes you don't get enough dark monsters in your hand. If you draw 2, you could end up just discarding your entire hand to the graveyard and then having to pass on that. So most of the time I do only activate this when I know for sure that I will draw or have a dark monster. If I really need to, I'll risk it and draw the 2 cards. You do have a higher chance of drawing a dark monster than not, but sometimes you could draw like maybe a Collapse Serpent, a Dark Magician, or Red Eyes Black Dragon. Those ones are kind of horrible to draw and have to banish. Sometimes just the way you draw just really hurts this card a little bit. Next is Gold Sarcophagus. This one is easy, it's just an extender on its own. It does whatever you want to do in your combo, and it's pretty much, you just banish any Thunder Dragon you want. Well, hopefully not Thunder Dragon itself because it doesn't have an effect when banished. But you banish the Thunder Dragon, use its effect. The effect to add it to your hand after your second standby phase. That's not why we're playing it, we're just playing it because it banishes a Thunder Dragon. Although it could be funny if that comes up, but normally most of the time, either you'll win or your opponent will win. Hopefully you'll win though. I could say for myself that I've always won when activating this card, so. For another one-off, there's the Instant Fusion, of course, spoiler warning. I have 2 Instant Fusion targets in the extra deck. One is for breaking boards, one is for fusion summoning Thunder Dragon Titan. And who doesn't love to draw Instant Fusion? Let's say you're going second and draw Instant Fusion. With just Instant Fusion, you could probably take out 2 of your opponent's monsters, just with that. And for our final card in the main deck, it's going to be Monster Reborn. What else can I say? Extender, bring back Dragoon, bring back something in your opponent's graveyard for the memes. Sometimes it's optimal to do that, and it's just overall a good card for extending. So that is it for the main deck. It is a 42 card main deck, mainly because of Dragoon, and also Thunder Dragons do just generally do better with a deck with over 40 cards. Then now to get on to the extra deck, the Link monsters, I have 1 Link Haribo. This is when you're going first, you link off your normal summoned Matrix into Link Haribo. You get a light monster in the graveyard, and then you also get another Surge. Next is Anima. This card actually spiked in price. Next up for the Link 2s, you have Predaplant Verte Anaconda. You just use this all the time, summon out Dragoon or your Thunder Dragon Titan. If you want to pull off a big brain move though and make it seem like you're not playing Dragoon to your opponent, if you believe you could win by just doing this anyways, you could try to just send Thunder Dragon Fusion and make it seem like you're not even playing Dragoon at all. So that way when they go into their side, they aren't focusing on that, and then you just bring it out on the next duel and they get surprised by it. Just kind of a big brain move and smart play that you can make when you're at tournaments in between matches. Because of course, info is everything. You want to make sure your opponent has as little info as possible. Next you have the IP Masquerena. Most of the time you're also summoning this. This is because we don't want Anaconda on our field, so we're going to link it off. I have 3 different Link 4s, and the 3 different Link 4s are pretty different depending on the matches you're in, and I'll get to that more later. Also protects your monsters from card effects, so that way they can't just out your monsters you summon with their card effects. The last link to, I have Nightmare Phoenix. It's for back row, of course. When this card is summoned, you discard a card and then destroy a spell or trap they have. Since it's a back row format currently, it's good for removing back row, and sometimes you just need a generic link 2 to summon. It does have decent attack stats, so it could be the thing that pushes you to game. Next for the 1 link 3 is Nightmare Unicorn, another nightmare monster. This one is to break boards when you're going second. If you do want to do something funny, you could summon Nightmare Unicorn here and then Nightmare Phoenix here, and you just get 2 draws during each of your draw phases. But most of the time I use this when I'm link climbing, where I break my opponent's board even more and OTK. Next for our first link 3, Apollosa. I'm gonna say it. Bow Mommy. Bow Mommy. Bow Mommy. I like the alt art more, honestly. It's a nice gold wearer watch where we pulled it. No, I'm just kidding. We didn't pull this one. I bought it as a single. Not extremely powerful this format, but that's why I have other Link 4s in this deck. You should normally wait to use Masquerade's effect to see what your matchup is, and if it's a matchup that is reliant on effect monsters a lot, then you could use this card. Otherwise, summon another one of your Link 4 monsters when your opponent's deck is just set 5 pass. Another one is Mech Knight Crusadia Avramax. This one is still pretty hard for people to out. Sometimes you just summon this and say, okay, if you can't out this, I win. And then of course also they can't destroy it with card effects. Like Dragoon would normally be an out to this kind of, but now Masquerade won't let it destroy it, so it's pretty much immune from battle and from card effects, nor can it be targeted. Next up for our final link 4 is Unchained Abomination. This one is probably the best one against the back row decks, because when you use Titan to destroy a card, then since it was destroyed, Abomination says destroy like 7 times. That's not even an exaggeration. I counted it one time and I'm pretty sure the number was 7. You could do the same. You just keep on destroying after you destroy with Titan, so you destroy a whole bunch. Okay, so that is it for the Link monsters. Next, I'll just show you the 1xyz monster, Abyss Dweller. If you have enough extenders, you can summon this card with your level 4 monsters, and it could beat more disruption. It's pretty good in this format, of course, because there's still a lot of graveyard reliance. You can also play Tornado Dragon instead of this card if you want more back row removal instead, but I decided to play that one instead. Next up, let's start getting to our fusions. We have 2 Thunder Dragon Titan. You only need 2, it's recyclable with Thunder Dragon Fusion. So if Thunder Dragon Titan gets sent to the graveyard, use your second Thunder Dragon Fusion, return that back, summon your second Titan. Then if you still have instant fusion or something, you could summon that Titan again. It's a huge monster. This deck is pretty good at getting huge monsters out, because you could easily get monsters with 3,000 or more attack points on your field on your first turn. And that could be very difficult for some decks also, especially when they have protection. Like Avramax, Thunder Dragon Titan, Dragoon, all of those get really big, and it's just really hard for your opponent to deal with sometimes. They just need removal, and when you negate their removal, it's just too hard for them. Next, of course, I do have the Dragoon. This is a really good card in this deck. You summon it pretty much every turn. It's a free negate on your going first board. If your opponent starts to hand trap some of your stuff you do and you can't make much, it is so easy to make 2 monsters and summon Anaconda and make Dragoon. Pretty much any hand can make Dragoon because all you need is 2 bodies. Next for our instant fusion targets. Versus the Kaminari attack, non-effect monster. Some people might be confused if you don't know Thunder Dragons too well. This is a target for instant fusion, of course, and it's a Thunder Fusion monster, which means we could use it to summon Thunder Dragon Titan, and also it's just an extender. Of course, when you use this, you just use this in your combos to get rid of right away. And then our second instant fusion target, since we're playing instant fusion, why not make it versatile? So we have Thousand Eyes Restrict. This one is to break your opponent's board if you're going second, or as a follow-up play. So you activate Instant Fusion, summon this, absorb a monster, link it off, summon Anima, absorb another monster, and boom, you just absorbed 2 monsters with your 1 Instant Fusion. So there you go, that's the extra deck. Next is the side deck. My side deck is different from my previous side decks before. They've been similar. This one is still kind of similar, but it is different. So I'm starting it off with 3 Nibiru's. Nibiru can actually be pretty good against Virtual World. you're going to want to wait for them to summon True King of all calamities, and then make them waste resources, and then you Nibiru them pretty much at the end. It's not the best against Drytron because they could summon Vanity's Fiend before. I forgot if it's Vanity's Ruler or Vanity's Fiend. I'm sorry if I messed that up. One with the green hair. But also you can Nibiru Zodiacs when they summon a whole bunch of times to get to their Zeus. I'd say probably try to do it before they get to their Zeus, because then they could just chain their Zeus anyways. It's bad against certain matchups, but you could still find combo decks in this format. Another good option is to put in hand traps and maybe Droll. The reason why I wouldn't put in Lancia is because your Thunder Dragon Titan, this banishes to protect itself. Also, one thing that I forgot to mention, I'll mention it now, with Abomination, during your end phase, or just in general if you want, when you destroy a card, you can use Abomination to try to destroy Thunder Dragon Titan, and then use Thunder Dragon Titan's effect to protect itself. You could banish 2 cards from your graveyard. Those could be Thunder Dragon cards, and then you get to trigger those effects, and that adds a lot of synergy with Abomination. Also, with Masquerena, if you have Thunder Dragons on your field, you leave them on your field if you've already resolved their effects that turn, and then use them to link off with Masquerena, maybe into an Apollosa. Okay, now that I'm done going back to the extra deck, back to the side deck, we have one Pinkertops. I like calling it Pinkertops, even though it's probably better pronounced Pinkertops. It's more fun to pronounce it as Pinkertops, so just deal with me on that one. Hey, it's Cyber Dragon, but it's stronger and it could pop. So this is going to be one of your cards that you side in for going second. It could work against back row. Normally what you could do, you summon this card you special summon this card in attack position, attack over a monster, main phase 2, trigger its effect to pop a card. They can't send Entis to the graveyard from their extra deck with Dogmatica Punishment because this card is 100 attack stronger than it. So against like a Dogmatica invoked board, let's say they have Punishment set and Makaba on the field. You special summon this, attack over their Makaba, trigger its effect, destroy their back row. They can't really do anything unless they already have the monster in their graveyard, and either way they're wasting a punishment. It's just really good and simple for going second. Next I'm playing 3 Cosmic Cyclone. Now this is new. I'm putting this here instead of Twin Twisters. You could use Twin Twisters still because you don't really need to worry about the discard too much, but banishing is just so much better this format against Eldritch especially. I just feel like Cosmic Cyclone is a little bit stronger than Twin Twisters right now. Next, card that came off the ban list recently, Harpy's Feather Duster. That's right, it's a Raigeki, but for spells and traps. You draw this card against your opponent who's playing back row, they just cry. Next is Evenly Matched. This is good. This is very good against back row decks and also combo decks. Not that there's too much combo decks right now, so this is mainly going to be used against back row decks. I'm just going to keep using the Dogmatica Invoke example. Some players will keep the trap in their hand, maybe to play around this if they want to, but most of the time they just set all their traps. They set all their traps, summon their Makaba, only for you to say battle phase. And a lot of people aren't really playing negates for spells and traps in the back row. Most of the time it's just disruption. A lot of the times this will resolve, and then playing through that one interruption is easy. Next, it seems like I really like this card. I promise I cut it somewhere in the history of my decks. It's Dimensional Barrier. Really good this format. You sided against Virtual World, declare Synchros, they can't play. You sided against Zodiacs, declare Xyz, they can't play. You call Fusions against Dogmatica Invoke, they can't summon their Makaba. You call Rituals against Drytrons, they can't resolve Ben 10. It's just really good this format because just think of all the top decks. This pretty much hits them in some way. For the final card, it's Red Reboots, our favorite trap card, limited to 1 that counters trap cards. People also rage when you use this card against them and they're playing back row decks, and to that I say, shut up, you're playing back row. No, I'm just kidding. You can play whatever you want. But this card is really good against the back row decks, and it just completely shuts them down. The only thing that I don't like about this is that it lets them set a trap card from their deck, so you do have to try to kill them as fast as possible. But come on, we have Titan. Resolve Thunder Dragon 6 times, and you just pop their field. So it gets rid of all their cards anyways, and then they need follow-up turns, which you then pop with Titan also. Alright, so that is pretty much it for the deck profile. Thank you guys for watching if you made it this far. We did improve the not subscribed to subscribe ratio by like 2%. That's still a ton of you watching that's not subscribed, so why not? Do it. Subscribe. Like the video also. Do all that stuff. You know what's coming, you know I say this, you know everyone says this. I do read and respond to pretty much every single comment posted pretty quickly also, so feel free to comment something and suggest something, and then we can have a conversation in the comment section. I will probably do a Thunder Dragon combo video soon, so look forward to that one. And of course, as always, have a wonderful rest of your day.